What's going on, everyone? Today we're going to look at another bike from Tuttio. This one's called the ICT, and I was really impressed with the speed and the power and the fun of that first Tuttio bike I tested, which was the Adria 26. And this ICT bike feels like a definite step up in terms of speed and also the build quality. Here's a quick rundown of the specs. The ICT bike stands on 20 by 4-inch fat tires with a minimum seat height of 31.5 inches. It is a frame-integrated 60-volt, 25-amp-hour battery pack, supplying the 45-amp controller with plenty of juice to run the 2,000-watt geared hub motor in the rear wheel. Helping you control that power, full twist throttle on your right hand, 4-piston hydraulic brakes with oversized 220mm rotors. It's a dual suspension bike with a double crown fork up front and an adjustable air shock in the rear. The ICT has 7 mechanical gears, a color display, headlight, taillight, and horn. It weighs in at 103 pounds and has a carrying capacity of 330 pounds. Now that you got the basic specs, let's talk about the ride experience. And I'm gonna lead off with what I thought was the most impressive part of this bike, and that was the speed. Take a look at this. All right, time to see what this bike's got in the speed department. We got a nice long straight stretch here. Some ever so slight inclines and declines, but pretty level ground. We're up to 30, no problem. Up to 40, pretty much no problem. 40, that was easy to get to 41. It might be a little uphill right here. And we're going 41 on the GPS. Wow. And now we're kind of cresting and it might be a little bit downhill. I mean, holding 40, and I can't tell if this wind is a headwind or just because we're going 40. I think if I duck down, we go even faster. Let me try. 42, 43 when I duck down. I mean, 40 mile an hour confirmed. Wow, this thing is quick, man. All right, let's give it a try on this straight stretch here. We'll give you multiple runs here. Get a real good feel for the speed. I mean, it goes 30 so easy. And it just keeps pulling. 39 on the bike, 38 GPS. 40 is really easy. And if you duck down, I bet it goes faster. Try to duck down a little bit. $41, 42. Yeah, I can hit like 42. Easy, I'm not even in a full tuck. I'm just trying to get down out of the window a little bit. Yeah, 41, 42. Super easy, and I'm 180 pounds. That's what this bike's carrying down the road. 6 feet tall, 180, hitting 40 like nothing. They say on the website, I think 43 to 49. If you hit some downhill, yeah, I bet it does that easy. We could try it. Let's try it. All right, full tuck. What do we get? 47? Woo! 47? That was a downhill. Okay, that was downhill, but still, 47. All right, let's open it up one more time. There's a little tiny bit of downhill right here. See what happens. Definitely have a headwind though going this way. Okay, gonna pull out in front of me. We'll make it. All right, so now it starts going downhill a little bit. I mean, 45. What? That, I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy. Woo! Good brakes too. That is, that's fast. That It's fast. That might be one of the fastest I've ever had a bike go down that stretch of road. I do speed tests there all the time. 45. So 43 to 49 on the website. Yeah, that's possible. Woo, man, this bike is fast. If you got some running room, you can really get this thing moving. You got a geared hub motor in the back wheel that's rated for 2,000 watts continuous. You got a 60 volt battery in the frame right there, which is gonna charge up to 67.2 volts, and you got a 45 amp controller. That combination is no joke. This is some serious power. And people have been asking me in my comments section for a while, when's somebody gonna make a 20-inch wheel bike with some serious power? Well, here it is. And I have tested other 20-inch wheel bikes that had really great power, but most of those were dual motor e-bikes. They had a motor in the front wheel as well. This is just single motor. And those other ones, they topped out around 35, maybe 38, 39 miles per hour was their top end speed. I think I only ever had one bike that exceeded 40 miles per hour, and that one cost $3,600. This one's $1,699. It just shocked me that a bike with this level of performance exists at this price point. And it's not just all top end speed. The pull off the line on this thing is really strong, and the hill climb power is pretty substantial too. Take a look. All right, excuse the drone noise, but I want to give you a shot of what the acceleration looks like. So here's full blast off the line. 3, 2, 1, go. Wow, really strong pull. It gets up to speed quick. And if you're not paying attention, you can pull the front wheel off the ground. If you're kind of sitting upright like this and just hit full throttle, front wheel comes up really easily. It's easy to wheelie this thing. If you were great at wheelies, you would love this bike. I'm horrible at wheelies, but you can really easily pop that wheel in the air. Holy cow. But very strong acceleration. Here it is one more time. 3, 2, 1, go. Very, very strong. But really just gobs and gobs of power in this bike. A lot of fun. A lot of fun on this thing. All right, let me try to give you a 0 to 30 time. You ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Great launch. Man, this thing's powerful. And then 30 on the bike, GPS lags behind. So I'm gonna go with the bike because they're pretty much the same. I mean, probably less than a mile an hour off from each other. The GPS just lags. Great power. Time to do our hill climb test. We test all the bikes on this hill up here and we time them going up, see how they compare. Now your single motor bikes, your typical fat tire bike is gonna climb this hill up here in about 22 to 25 seconds. The dual motor bikes, they go way faster. They do maybe 14 to 18 seconds. This bike with all its power, it's gonna be right there competing with the dual motor bikes, even though it's only single motor. They say 170 newton meters of torque. I don't know. Maybe it's close. They say 4,000 watts. Does it have 4,000 watts? I don't know. Probably not. 3,000 watts? Yeah, absolutely, 100%. It's got 3,000. But let's see how it does on a hill climb here. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Front wheel came off the ground. This thing launches like crazy. Wow, this is gonna be fast. Oh, buddy. This is crushing it. And time. That was quick. That was a quick one. It's very, very, very strong bike. This bike is about the power. Wow. It's got power. If you want power and speed at a cheap price, man, this has got it. This is a strong bike. I mean, that hill climb was nothing for this. No pedaling, full throttle. Now, they did give you some really great speed on this bike, a lot of power, but they also gave you some pretty good brakes. I mean, I've been really pleased with the brakes. They can bring you to a stop very nicely. That was a strong, controlled stop. I didn't even really skid the tire that much. They're big brakes too. They're a 4-piston caliper, and it's on a 220 millimeter disc. So oversized. Usually the 203 is the biggest you get. These are 220. I think they say KTET, K-T-E-T, I think is what that says. It does say DOT 3, DOT 4. So I'm guessing this is actual like brake fluid in the master cylinder here. Normally, you know, bicycle brakes are going to be mineral oil, not DOT3. So these must be, I'm guessing, DOT level brakes. They're strong. I got no complaints about the brakes. And you need that when you're going, you know, 40 to 45 miles an hour on this. So great choice on the brakes. Very pleased with that. Very, very pleased. All right, I think you get the picture. This is a really, really strong bike. I couldn't get enough of just cranking the throttle, feeling this thing lift off. It pulls off the line really hard. It gets up over 30 miles an hour really quickly. Very strong on the hills. If you're looking for a powerful bike, you are gonna love this thing, right? But let me show you some of the other aspects about the ICT, things like ride position, comfort, pedaling, stuff like that. Here's what it looks like for 6 feet tall to ride this bike. Bottom of the pedal stroke here. The top of it is here. And then when you're riding mainly like this. I like how tall the bars are. I don't really feel hunched over. That's good. But my legs feel a little bit scrunched up. Now, in terms of pedaling, you can forget it. I mean, this is what it's like trying to pedal this. I'm 6 feet tall with long legs. I mean, it's not comfortable at all to pedal. So don't buy this with the intention of pedaling it, I would say. I mean, the way it's set up, it feels just like a little motorcycle. So you're probably not going to pedal it much anyway. Maybe if you're 5 foot, I don't know, 2, 3, maybe you pedal this with ease, but it's not really comfy for me. My calf muscles even kind of hit the frame a little bit sometimes. Here's another look at pedaling for someone with long legs. My pants are 32 34s, and I only wear those because they don't make 30 34s. You could do it if you absolutely had to, I guess. But I really haven't pedaled it much at all while riding it. Suspension feels pretty good. Forks, really easy to bottom them out. There's a lot of travel in them. I mean, it's I think a budget fork. There's no adjustment in it. The rear suspension feels better. Rear suspension is an air shock. It is adjustable air shock. It came set with about 50 PSI in it, which seems pretty good for me. It's pretty soft. I gotta try this thing over some tree roots. Oh, you can hear that front fork rebound hard. Yeah, it's like a pogo stick. This bike is all go, man. It just wants to go, even in the pedal assist, right? So the pedal assist system is a cadence sensor. All you gotta do is spin the pedals, but I'm in pedal assist 1, and if I start pedaling, there's about a rotation, maybe just on a rotation, and it takes off. I'm not pushing at all, and it drags you to 18 miles an hour. That's pedal assist 1, 18 miles an hour. You can't really ride it slow pedaling. It just, because as soon as it kicks in, it kicks in with a lot of power, and it pulls you to 18 and stops. So if you want to ride slow, you're going to have to just like baby the throttle like this. You can ride at 4 miles an hour with just throttle. Now I'm 6 feet tall. I got long legs. I was a little cramped on this bike, and I didn't really feel like pedaling it much at all. I rode throttle only almost the entire time I rode this thing. If you're shorter than me, you could probably pedal it a little bit easier, but this style of bike, they're not really known for ease of pedaling, and I think the buyers that are interested in these aren't so concerned about the pedaling aspect of it. Overall, I like the height of the handlebars, and the suspension I was fine with. I mean, the front forks, they're non-adjustable. They do have a good amount of travel, but they're pretty soft. It's pretty easy to bottom them out, and then they're not the smoothest on the rebound. So I think clearly they just spent their money in other areas on this bike. Just my take on it. The rear suspension I thought felt much better. It made for a nice soft ride, and it's an adjustable air shock, so you can dial up the air pressure for your weight. It's a pretty big and soft seat, but honestly, after about 15 miles, I was ready to take a break from it. And I think my build just ergonomically wasn't the best match for this bike. It really just gave me the impression it was going to be better suited for a person of smaller stature, which is actually a really great thing because I've got all these other really fast, really powerful bikes in this garage, but they're 26x4 fat tires, and they're huge, and they're tough for a shorter person to ride. So it's really great to see a bike in this wheel size with that same strong power. And they did it at a pretty killer price point. But I'd say they nailed the look of this ICT bike, which by the way stands for Iron Curtain Trail. I'll let you Google that. But the frame is really cool looking. It appears to be constructed well. It's very solid bike. I love the look of the rear shock. The headlight is unique and bright. The front fenders look like they should be off of a dirt bike. You got a tail light and brake light. I really wish it had turn signals, but it does not. You know, given how much I was riding on the street and in traffic, turn signals would be great. And there's no storage on the bike though. I do see some mounting holes on the underside of the frame here. Maybe they're gonna offer a rear rack in the future. I don't know. I mean, for me, the look of this thing and the ride experience, it just felt like a little motorcycle. And I kept mainly to the streets with the ICT bike. Bike paths, greenways, walkways. I mean, that just didn't feel like the right venue for this bike. But if you need something to get around town or commute on, and you want it to be able to keep up in 35-mile-an-hour traffic, this one's gonna do it no problem. And the one last thing we need to cover is range. Given that I'm using throttle like 99% of the time on this bike, how much ground can you actually cover on a single charge? Here's what happened. Shouldn't take too long to burn through this battery doing this. Let's get this range test done. I'm about 14 miles in so far today. I started with a full charge. Got about 14 miles. I'm at 59.4 volts. Now I haven't had a chance to really off-road this bike because there's the woods I used to off-road in. It's a pile of trees now. They clear cut. This is that like power line I used to ride down. It's completely gone. All of the woods where I off-road don't exist anymore. So we got to find a new spot to do that. That's disappointing. All right, we just crossed over the 20-mile mark and I'm at 56 point something volts. That's probably close to 45% battery left maybe. My battery indicator is at, you know, almost half charge. So it's I guess fairly accurate. Well, let's keep going. Doesn't take long to put in a lot of miles when you're going this fast on this thing. All right, we're about 24 miles into this range test and I was hard on this thing for those 24 miles. Pretty much gunning it from every stop, pulling a lot of wheelies off the line, a lot of 40-mile-an-hour riding on the country roads. I'm just trying to burn this down as fast as I can. Here's full throttle from a stop. Still decent pickup, but I can tell it's certainly lost some juice. So 24 miles before I kind of really feel the drop off in power. We're still able to go to 30. Not as strong as it once was though. So it looks like you can have that full blast, heavy hitting power for 20 miles, just over 20 miles, and then you're gonna start fading a little bit. But it's still got pretty reasonable power right now. Let's see how far we can go with, you know, reasonable power. All right, folks, there it is. 30 miles and we're done. 30 miles we covered on this single charge. Here's how much power we got left. I mean, it still moves me down the road, but nowhere near the power that this thing once had. At this point, you gotta be on close to home. That's top speed, 13. I got 30 miles on one charge. I mean, given how I was riding this thing, I thought that was pretty good. I'd say I had fantastic power out of the throttle for probably the first 22, 23 miles, and it was a gradual fade off from there. But I mean, you got a 25 amp hour battery pack in the frame, which is big, but it's not absolutely huge. And I was pulling power out of that battery about as fast as I possibly could. Your range is gonna vary based on rider weight and how hilly is the terrain and how much you use in the throttle, etc. So my test is just one piece of data for you to consider. I think it kind of shows the minimum range you're gonna get if you're just riding this thing full blast the whole time. So how are you gonna ride? Well, that was my ride experience with the ICT bike from Tuttio. If you wanna know more about this one, I'll put a link to it in the video description below. And if you decide to buy through that link, it does help support me making these videos. But I really hope you found this one helpful, informative, at least entertaining to watch. If you did, consider hitting that subscribe button on your way out, and I'll see you in the next one. Definitely easy to go 40. .42 bike, 41 GPS. I mean, just ever so slight downhill and it picks up a couple mile an hour. Now 43. This is a bike that is consistently in the 40s.